something with electricity and our way of living, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of both. The tour is kind of a little bit to do with both the kind of celebration, but also the commiseration of human progress in terms of energy usage. So we pay a tribute to things like the light bulb and to energy stations, power stations, but also we also show elements of pollution and elements of the sort of the other side. So I think, and we talk about things being unsustainable and stuff. So it's kind of I'm sort of trying to tread the line between the confusion of living in the modern age, where our genes, our evolution wants to still progress and to discover new things and move forward and so on. But we are living in a time where it's proving difficult to do that, because of population and because of energy decline and war. So I think that those themes, I see those things as kind of an interesting subject to make a concert about, because we're doing a concert on such a big scale. It seems like almost playing at this level may be unsustainable. It might be a little bit too much. So I think we're sort of trying to make the concept to be relating to that.
Yeah. Do you think you can get your message across to the public here?
Well, I don't think we have a particular message. I think we're trying to connect in so much as how difficult it is to look in the future in an optimistic way. I think that I've always loved science and science fiction and things like that, and all the dreams of what could have been. I think really I don't have a defined solution. I think, but I'm definitely expressing what is the confusion of these times. Yeah.
So you're a lover of science fiction. That's mainly movies or books or.
Yeah. Well, actually, science. I say science fiction, but I remember around about the second, third album, I was reading this guy called Michio Kaku, who's like an interesting, he writes these sort of popular science books which talk about, the universe and the future and all these kind of things, which when I was growing up it seemed so fantastical, and I still think I'm still waiting for like these revolutions to take place, these revolutions in science, like where something brand new, like a breakthrough in energy processing, I kind of feel like we're all waiting for this, because I don't think anybody is really pleased with the way the future is going to be if we don't have a breakthrough in science. I think it's so I think for me, I've always been interested in that subject.
And it's kind of reflected in the songs as well, in how you put it together musically, because you've got elements from the past, but elements from the future as well, which makes it kind of really universal.
I've always been interested in the history of music. I first got into bits of classical music when I was like maybe 17, 18, and I found some of the that way of connecting with the past I found much more obviously emotional, like rather than just reading history books, when you actually can feel the things that people were feeling back then. I find that really quite an interesting way to understand history from a different perspective, and so it's natural those things have had an influence on the music.
A lot has happened with Muse since when you first started all those years ago. I remember a gig, I think 6 or 7 years ago, was really brilliant because you just played new song, old song, new song, old song, new song, old song, and that really worked. So everyone was ecstatic. But what made me even more ecstatic was that after the gig, I guess you run out of beer here in the Artist Village, and you just came over to the VIP and Press Village to have a beer with us all. Do you do that kind of stuff still, or have you changed as a person as the band has become bigger? No,
I think we're still. Actually, I think we're still very much down to earth, because we've never really been particularly famous faces. I think people seem to recognise us. Seem to be just for the music, so I like that. We've never really had any problems with anybody who recognises us. Normally is just very friendly. They just say, "Oh, nice band" or something, so we don't really get people that are just taking pictures for no reason. But we do love playing the festivals as well. I assume that was a festival, yeah.
It's Rock World,
it's been a couple of years since we played festivals. So I think to be honest with you, we're starting to miss that a little bit, because this tour we're playing very big concerts just alone, and I think that we're missing the chance to socialise with people and meet other bands and stuff. So maybe in the future, next tour, we probably would do some festivals again. So
would that be next year or?
Probably not next year. No, probably like in a few years or something.
Yeah, some light years in the future, like that. Where do you stand as a band now? What are your ambitions still?
Yeah. So is that doors? Can you close that? Yeah. The ambitions. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I mean, primarily musical ones. I think it might be a nice time for us to reflect on how we began. Next year will be 20 years since we played our first concert.
Already.
So when we're 15 years old, and so it might be a nice time to kind of reflect on how it was when we started, when it was just very simple 3-piece, and probably more kind of rock, more stripped down. I think that might be something that we would explore a little bit in the future.
Yeah. Funny thing is, last time you were around here, you said kind of the same thing for.
I always say that. Yeah. I say that every time.
It doesn't work out.
Yeah, I know.
The last album is
but I keep trying to force myself to remember this way of thinking. And I don't know what happens whenever we get into the studio. I forget. So I need to like get a tattoo or something. Is like strip it down, go basic. I'm not sure about going acoustic or so. I don't mean that. I think in the past I've said that a lot. But I think this time I'm talking about maybe going more like. Just trying to reconnect with that rock side, that was before we, because I think the second, third album, fourth album, we started adding on more and more things, adding on synthesizers and like orchestras and all these extra instruments, and I think it might be time to sort of just go back and just see what we are like just on the basic instruments, and so I don't know, it's an idea. I mean, it's really too early to say, but I'm starting to think that way. But as you pointed out, it's a common theme,
because like Unsustainable, the song Unsustainable, that was the preview to the new album. A lot of fans were, well, I don't know if they really liked it.
Didn't get it, yeah.
You got a lot of shit for that. But then again, that's kind of a way to tease people and to get them to see you as an evolving band, no?
Yeah. Well, that was probably the most experimental thing on the album. It was clearly influenced by electronic music, heavy electronic music, but also we wanted to try to recreate this with organic instruments, so that's actually, it was like 80 musicians, like a full orchestra, full brass, full choir and everything. So it's actually probably the most excessive thing we've done, so it's very experimental, and that's why we put it out first. But I think it's interesting, because I think a lot of people's reaction thought that it was electronic, or thought that it was like a dubstep type thing, but in fact it's completely organic instruments, so I think kind of the spin story was misinterpreted.
Because the fear was that the whole album would be
dubstep.
Exactly.
Yeah.